Welcome to the Deep Dive. If you're anything like me, you're always on the hunt for that shortcut to feeling truly well-informed, right?
Absolutely.
Well, you've definitely landed in the right spot today. We're about to plunge into a fascinating stack of sources that shed light on something absolutely critical for all of us, even if we don't work directly in the industry, how food manufacturers manage risk to keep our plates safe.
It's a huge topic and really important.
It is. Our mission for this deep dive is to unpack the incredible complexities food manufacturers face in their supply chains. We'll be looking at a presentation that not only lays bare their biggest challenges, but also reveals some surprisingly effective real-world solutions.
Yeah, some really practical stuff.
And it highlights this powerful shift towards proactive, even, AI-driven strategies. Get ready for some unexpected insights that might just change how you think about the food you eat. Okay, let's unpack this then. When it comes to monitoring and assessing risk for their products, what are the big pain points food manufacturers are telling us about? What's, really keeping them up at night?
Well, what's truly fascinating here is how clearly the top concerns point to this universal, almost urgent need for better, faster information.
Better info, faster. Okay.
Exactly. Our sources highlight that a staggering 85% of survey respondents identified their greatest need as being early warned.
85%. Wow.
Yep. Early warnings about external risks and hazards that could, utterly disrupt their supply chain.
Okay, so visibility is key. What else?
Beyond that, nearly two-thirds, about 65%, feel this constant pressure, to continuously monitor food safety compliance and supplier risk performance. It's relentless.
Constant monitoring, I can imagine.
And then over half, 52%, are really struggling to even consider emerging threats when they're assessing a supplier's history or an ingredient's risk profile.
So the new stuff, the unexpected risks.
Precisely. What this tells us is that the traditional, the reactive approach, it just isn't cutting it anymore.
It's not enough.
Not at all. It leaves them feeling completely overwhelmed, wasting massive amounts of time just searching for relevant information, and too often missing critical data specific to their own unique suppliers, ingredients, or products.
So it's not just a minor inconvenience. It sounds like these challenges, missing early warnings, constant manual checks, struggling with emerging threats, they're creating a real sense of vulnerability, like a reactive, constant scramble.
Absolutely. That's a great way to put it.
Can you paint a picture of what that feels like for a manufacturer on the ground?
Yeah. Imagine trying to steer a massive ship in a storm.
Right.
But your radar is outdated and you're getting weather reports hours, sometimes days too late.
Okay, that's stressful.
That's the feeling. It's this constant low-level anxiety knowing a single missed alert could lead to a massive recall, reputational damage that takes years to rebuild, and potentially millions in lost revenue. It's not just about ticking compliance boxes. It's about staying afloat, protecting their brand, and ultimately keeping us, the consumers, safe.
That's a powerful analogy. Okay, so the problem is clear.
Yeah.
The industry needs better foresight.
Yeah.
But how are some manufacturers actually, achieving this?
Yeah.
Let's dive into some specific scenarios where this new approach is making a tangible difference.
Right.
Starting with the classic pain point, getting actionable alerts for suppliers.
Yeah.
Our first scenario involved a large manufacturer dealing with, get this, over 500 different materials, 1,100 suppliers.
1,100.
And 61 plants across multiple continents, all supported by a global FXQA team that's food safety and quality assurance of 60 experts. What was their immediate challenge? What were they grappling with?
Well, their major concern was this almost paralyzing fear of missing an important risk.
Missing something big.
Yeah, something that could impact their products, their materials, their suppliers. I mean, think about it. Manually searching the web for every new food safety issue or fraud incident.
Every single one.
Linked to 1,100 suppliers, even with 60 experts. It's just, it's not scalable.
No,
it's like trying to find a needle in 1,000 haystacks every single day.
Right.
They desperately needed a system, something intelligent that could tell them which of those 1,100 suppliers suddenly had food safety issues.
Pinpoint the problem.
Exactly. Allowing them to activate timely preventative measures rather than, waiting for an incident to erupt.
That makes sense. So how did this proactive approach specifically change their day-to-day? Beyond just automating the search, what did it actually do for them?
Okay, so it started by importing all their crucial data, ingredients, suppliers, regions into the system.
Getting everything in one place.
Right. And this allowed for deep customization, letting their experts focus on the specific food categories and hazards relevant to their products. But the key was the alerts. real-time and email alerts.
Okay, the alerts. Like,
For instance, the system would highlight increasing risks for specific ingredients, like sesame seeds seeing a staggering 400% increase in pesticide-related incidents,
400%. Wow.
or herbs and spices with a 300% increase in unauthorized ethylene oxide. That's a chemical, a pesticide, or sterilant, and its presence can be a serious health concern.
Definitely.
It even identified affected products with dramatic risk increases. I remember one, mineral oil, jumping a massive 13,601%.
13,000%. That's astronomical.
It was. So it wasn't just throwing data at them, it was actionable intelligence, things they needed to look at now.
Wow, that's incredibly specific and timely. So what was the real-world impact? Did it work? What happened when they got these kinds of proactive alerts?
It absolutely did. A senior director of global quality system at a leading multinational bakery products manufacturer
Yeah.
gave a really powerful quote that sums it up perfectly.
What did they say?
They said, "Thanks to the supplier alerts, we were able to activate preventive actions in advance with one of our egg suppliers who was facing a potential salmonella issue."
So they caught it early.
Yes. Based on the alert, we immediately performed a surveillance audit on site, which allowed us to verify the situation and take the necessary measures. This was essential to prevent a micro-risk in our supply chain.
So it stopped a potential salmonella outbreak.
Exactly. It clearly illustrates that fundamental shift, from reactive crisis management to proactive prevention. It's about seeing the problem brewing and addressing it before it ever reaches your factory floor, let alone the consumer.
That's a fantastic example of literally preventing an incident. But, for a system that sounds so powerful, is it always smooth sailing? I imagine there must be hurdles. What are some of the common challenges or maybe pushbacks manufacturers face when they try to implement such a big shift?
That's a really crucial question. Because while the benefits are clear, yeah, there are hurdles. Often, the initial one comes down to data integration.
Jam the data in.
Right. These systems need clean, comprehensive data from whatever the manufacturer is already using their ERP internal databases. So that upfront effort, cleaning and connecting the data, can be significant. Takes time and resources.
It does. And then there's the cultural shift, moving from that firefighting mentality where you're always reacting
Right, putting out fires.
to a prevention one. That requires training, building trust in the new technology. People need to believe the alerts are accurate and act on them.
So change management is key too.
Absolutely. But the feedback consistently shows that once that initial investment in time, resources, and trust is made, the return is undeniable. The prevention pays off.
Okay, that makes sense. So that proactive intervention saved them a huge headache with the egg supplier. And speaking of headaches, another major one in this industry often arises much earlier in the process: vetting new suppliers.
Oh, definitely. Supplier qualification.
What challenges were manufacturers facing there? This next use case involves a manufacturer with over 150 materials, 100 suppliers, and 3 plants.
Yeah, this client was experiencing significant wasted time, resources, and frankly money, all due to preventable issues in just selecting and assessing suppliers.
Preventable issues? Like what? Well, they had problems with high-risk suppliers just not being flagged early enough. Maybe during the qualification stage.
So he'd onboard someone risky without realizing.
Exactly. Which then led to failed audits down the line, disrupted supply chains, and basically a lot of costly backtracking and fixing problems that shouldn't have happened.
Ouch.
Yeah. So their specific need was for a proactive, data-driven risk assessment system, something that could identify these high-risk suppliers before the audits, before the shipments, ideally right at the start, during that initial supplier qualification phase.
So they needed to know who they were getting into bed with, so to speak, before any problems could arise.
That's a good way to put it. Yes, know the risks up front.
So how did this system help them streamline this absolutely crucial process of supplier due diligence? How did it give them that upfront knowledge?
Well, the system enabled them to perform really comprehensive food safety due diligence on their suppliers, but without all the manual grind.
Less paperwork, more insight.
Precisely. They could easily study recalls, border rejections, warning letters, inspection results, all in one centralized dashboard.
All the history in one place.
Right. And this directly helped them design much smarter, more targeted audit plans. Instead of generic audits, they knew where to focus.
Makes sense.
And crucially, it helped them comply with critical FDA rules like the Foreign Supplier Verification Programs or FSVP.
Ah, yes, FSVP. That's a big one.
It is. That regulation essentially mandates that U.S. importers are responsible for ensuring their foreign suppliers produce food safely. So having this detailed history readily available, proving you've done your homework on a supplier, is invaluable.
That sounds like it would save a lot of headaches and definitely money. So it's not just about compliance, is it? It's fundamentally reshaping the economics of food safety, turning what was maybe once seen as just a reactive cost center into a strategic investment.
Exactly. That's the shift.
What was the tangible financial and operational impact for this client? Can we put numbers on it?
Well, a vice president of technical services at a leading seafood products manufacturer put it very clearly. He said, if we had done a proper risk assessment up front, we could have avoided sending a team halfway across the world to audit a supplier that was never going to meet our standards.
Wow, sending a team halfway around the world.
Yeah. Just that one trip, he said, cost us $15,000 to $30,000.
$15,000 to $30,000 wasted.
Wasted, he continued. A system that flags those risks early would save us time, money, and a lot of headaches. So it clearly shows the direct financial and operational benefits of identifying risks early. It's just smart prevention over costly reaction.
15 grand is a lot of headaches avoided.
You bet. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, both of these use cases, the supplier alerts and the due diligence, they dramatically illustrate this fundamental industry shift we're talking about.
From reactive to predictive.
Exactly. Moving from that reactive crisis management approach to one of predictive foresight. Our sources indicate that these systems lead to significantly saved effort. All that time spent manually checking and verifying suppliers affected by emerging risks.
Yeah.
They're seeing reductions in that effort by as much as 50%.
50%. That's huge for efficiency.
It is. But more importantly, they allow for the activation of those early preventative measures, stopping incidents before they ever happen.
Right, the prevention aspect again.
Which not only prevents costly financial losses, but also safeguards a brand's reputation, which, let's face it, is often priceless. The clear ROI, the return on investment per year, shows this powerful trend of increased value. Moving from just automating monitoring towards a robust risk prediction phase yields truly substantial returns.
Okay, so predicting risk pays off. Now, beyond just focusing on individual suppliers, what about identifying all potential food safety hazards across an incredibly broad and diverse supply chain? That sounds like a monumental task.
It is.
This next use case involves a manufacturer dealing with over 10,400 materials.
10,400.
Over 1,000 suppliers, plants in multiple countries globally, supported by 40 experts. What was the biggest friction point for them? What kept them awake?
Well, their primary worry was the sheer lack of a comprehensive, reliable view of all potential hazards that might affect their vast supply chain.
Just too much complexity.
Way too much. They needed a hazards analysis tool, something to help them develop clear, concise reports for food safety hazards, especially the new ones, the emerging ones.
To make sense of it all.
Yeah. The goal was to quickly share these reports with management and plant managers to highlight the real risks, make informed decisions, and crucially, to update their HACCP plans.
Ah, the HACCP plans. The blueprints for safety.
Exactly. Those critical blueprints for identifying and controlling food safety hazards. They need to be current and reflect real-world risks.
I can imagine how overwhelming that would be without the right tools, just drowning in data. So, how did the system provide this comprehensive view and help them make smarter, faster decisions?
It provided a dynamic hazards analysis dashboard. Think of it like a central control panel for every ingredient and finished product they make. It instantly showed them a breakdown of all the past incidents. It could show incidents per year, categorize them, revealing, for instance, that chemical incidents accounted for over 62% of their issues.
62% chemical,
Right.
Wow.
Biological for 21%, and fraud for 16%. It also highlighted specific recurring hazards like salmonella with 176 incidents logged, or chlorpyrifos, that common pesticide, with 110 incidents.
So it gave them a clear picture of where the problems were historically.
Right. It's like a heat map of potential trouble spots, categorized by what went wrong and how often.
Very useful.
And it was also crucial for identifying new and increasing risks, especially for ingredients they were maybe just introducing. For example, it could flag medium risks for sesame in new sesame bars related to salmonella or other pathogenic bacteria.
So it spots trouble with new stuff, too.
Exactly. And this data wasn't just looked at, it was used to create actionable monthly food safety hazard reports for management and the plant managers.
Okay, that's powerful for understanding what has happened. But in a fast-moving global supply chain, the past isn't always the best predictor. What about anticipating what's going to happen? Can these systems actually look into the future, so to speak?
Absolutely. And this is where it gets truly predictive, moving beyond just historical analysis.
Okay, I'm interested.
The monthly reports included forecasts, actual incident trend forecasts for specific hazards and specific regions.
Forecasts, like
Yeah.
weather forecasts, but for food safety risks.
Kind of, yeah. And these forecasts could then be integrated directly into their food safety plan, their HACCP plan. For instance, it could predict upcoming trends for incidents related to, say, herbs and spices in a certain region. It also specifically flagged emerging hazards, things that weren't big problems yet, but were showing signs of becoming big problems. And it highlighted hazards likely to significantly increase in the near future.
Like what kind of increases?
Well, things like methamidophis, another highly toxic pesticide showing a potential 1,300% upward trend.
1,300% again.
Or Bacillus sp, a common type of bacteria, may be trending up 1,150% in the next 12 months. These are early warnings with serious numbers attached.
That's incredible foresight.
And this wasn't just a nice-to-have feature. It directly helped them meet crucial regulations, like the FDA's final rule for preventive controls for human food.
Right, the preventive controls rule.
Which basically says you can't just react to problems anymore. You have to actively identify known or reasonably foreseeable hazards, biological, chemical, physical, and you must have written preventive controls in place to stop them. This system helps them do that foreseeability part.
It gives them the evidence to be proactive, as the rule requires. That's a massive leap in capability from just doing detective work on past incidents to actually having foresight. How did a client sum up the value of getting this kind of intelligence?
Yeah, a vice president of global food safety and quality systems at a leading multinational supplier of food ingredients put it very well.
What was their take?
They said, "We're dealing with thousands of materials across our supply chain, and manually identifying hazards just isn't scalable."
We heard that before. Scalability is key.
Right. Having a tool that flags risks automatically and generates clear reports means we can make faster, smarter decisions. It saves us hours of work and gives our team the confidence to act quickly, whether it's for leadership reviews or plant-level execution.
Confidence to act quickly. That's huge. Okay, we've talked about traditional food safety bacteria, pesticides, allergens, but there's another critical, sometimes hidden area of risk: food fraud and adulteration.
Ah, yes, the deliberate stuff.
Yeah.
Economically motivated adulteration.
Exactly. This last use case focuses on that. It's a manufacturer with over 200 materials, 190 suppliers, and 7 plants. What nightmare scenario were they trying to avoid specifically related to fraud?
Well, their pain point was similar in structure, but different in focus. A lack of a comprehensive, reliable view, but this time focused on all potential fraud and adulteration risks within their supply chain.
So people intentionally messing with the food for profit.
Exactly. They needed a solution to provide accurate, real-time reports on these very specific risks tied to their ingredients. Reports they could then easily share with management and plant managers to inform crucial decisions about sourcing, testing, and prevention. This isn't just about accidental contamination. It's about deliberate deception.
Okay, so how did the system help them uncover these particularly tricky, often intentionally hidden types of risks?
Well, similar to the general hazard identification, it used a specialized hazards analysis dashboard, but this one was specifically designed to identify potential fraud issues in all their ingredients and finished products.
Tailored for fraud detection.
Right. It could break down the fraud incidents by type. For instance, showing that labeling issues or misdescription accounted for nearly 45% of the fraud incidents they faced.
45% just from bad labels or descriptions.
Yeah. Then, unauthorized ingredient fraud, maybe sneaking in something cheaper for 29%, and deliberate adulteration, like watering down or substituting, for 21%. It also provided historical incident trends by country, pinpointing high-risk regions for certain types of fraud.
So it maps out the fraud landscape for them.
Precisely. And again, the system could then automatically generate monthly food fraud reports to be shared with the management team and plant managers, keeping everyone specifically informed about these vulnerabilities.
And I imagine prediction is just as vital here, maybe even more so, since fraudsters are always trying to stay one step ahead. Fraud is often an evolving target, right?
Absolutely, you hit the nail on the head. This is where the predictive power truly shines for fraud prevention.
How so?
The system provided forecasts of incident trends specifically for fraud and adulteration issues. These forecasts are vital for conducting a robust vulnerability assessment, figuring out where you're most likely to be hit next.
So it predicts where the fraudsters might strike.
In a sense, yes. For example, it could show products likely to be affected by increasing adulteration incidents, highlighting trends like, say, fish and fish products, potentially seeing a 433% increase in adulteration risk.
Wow, fish fraud.
Or fruit and vegetable juices may be trending up 400%. This kind of foresight is crucial because it allows companies to anticipate where the next target for fraud might be and adjust their defenses accordingly.
So they can put extra testing or checks in place proactively.
Exactly. And this capability also directly helped companies comply with another specific FSMA rule, the one for intentional adulteration, or the IA rule.
Ah, the IA rule, focused purely on deliberate acts.
Right. It requires companies to identify vulnerable points in their food manufacturing processes and conduct a formal food fraud vulnerability assessment. This system provides the data to do that assessment effectively. It's about building resilience against those who would intentionally compromise food safety purely for economic gain.
It really helps them build that defense plan. So what was the overall impact for a client who embraced this level of insight into fraud and adulteration? What do they say?
The food safety director of a leading U.S. dairy and cheese production manufacturer emphasized this point really well.
Okay.
They said, whenever a new product or ingredient is proposed, we immediately turn to the hazards module to perform a deep dive into all potential fraud and adulteration risks.
So it's part of their standard process now.
Yes, the analysis is incredibly thorough and saves us a significant amount of time compared to doing this manually. We can quickly generate and share clear, actionable risk summaries with both top management and plant teams.
Getting everyone on the same page.
Exactly. This not only raises awareness, but also helps us justify key decisions, like investing in specific preventative measures, with confidence and evidence. It's about knowing, for example, if you're really buying extra virgin olive oil or just, colored vegetable oil before it ever gets into your product and onto the shelves.
Having the data to back up those investments makes sense.
So looking across all these use cases, the supplier alerts, the due diligence, the hazard ID, the fraud detection, the core business value becomes really clear.
What's the bottom line?
We're talking about significantly saving effort, time, and resources that were previously spent manually checking and verifying potential risks, whether there are those emerging food safety issues, just ensuring basic compliance, or uncovering that hidden fraud and adulteration.
Efficiency gains across the board.
Big time. It's also about identifying previously unknown economically motivated adulteration issues, where ingredients are deliberately swapped or diluted for cheaper alternatives to save money, like watering down milk or substituting expensive spices.
Catching the cheats.
Yes. But most importantly, across all these areas, these systems activate early preventive measures.
Prevention, prevention, prevention.
That's the mantra. This not only prevents costly incidents, recalls, lawsuits, market withdrawals, but it also protects that invaluable asset, the brand's reputation, all while ensuring compliance with crucial regulations. It really is a fundamental shift.
From reacting to anticipating.
Exactly. From
Yep.
reacting to problems to actively anticipating and preventing them. It's about moving from being a food safety detective, always looking at past crimes, to being more like a food safety oracle, seeing what might happen next.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground, looked at the challenge, these really compelling solutions. Now, as we kind of wrap up this deep dive, maybe let's look at some questions. Questions that, you listening might have based on common things manufacturers ask in this space.
Sounds good.
So what does all this actually mean for you and your operations day to day? Let's tap into some expert insights on these common concerns.
Happy to. And yeah, we've pulled together some excellent questions that really reflect what we hear from manufacturers. For instance, Carmen's question gets right to the point. How can I identify for my business the most relevant risks and threats and ensure my supply chain is robust enough?
That's the core challenge, isn't it?
It really is. And the key, as we've been discussing, is making that strategic shift, moving towards leveraging intelligent systems for foresight.
Okay.
So that means using real-time, actionable alerts tailored to your suppliers, setting up integrated, customized data monitoring to filter the noise, using a dynamic hazards analysis dashboard for both safety and fraud, and really doing that proactive supplier due diligence using global incident data. It all helps you anticipate issues before they grow, giving you that comprehensive view across your whole value chain.
Right. Moving from reacting to predicting. Then Brian asked, how can I develop and elaborate AI-driven strategies for risk assessment? That's a great how-to question.
It is. And for Brian, building these strategies involves a few key pieces working together. First, implement those real-time actionable alert systems we talked about.
Oh,
Second, centralize and customize your data integration, all ingredients, suppliers, regions, tailor it. Third, really lean into data-driven supplier due diligence. Use that global incident and inspection data.
right.
Fourth, adopt advanced hazards analysis and forecasting to keep HACCP plans current and meet FDA rules. And finally, integrate fraud and adulteration vulnerability assessments right into that system.
So it becomes one holistic view.
Exactly. It creates this anticipatory framework. It means you spend less time on the manual grunt work of data gathering and more time on actual strategic risk management.
Makes sense. Now, Matt's question brings us right back to those persistent problems we started with. What are the biggest challenges in conducting supplier and incoming material assessments observed around the world?
Yeah, and it really echoes what we heard earlier, doesn't it? It's that constant fight against just information overload, the fear of missing critical early warnings, the frankly inefficiency of manual processes when you're trying to keep tabs on a dynamic global supply chain.
Yeah.
Those are the daily struggles for so many manufacturers. Plus, that challenge of factoring in emerging threats, the things you don't even know are coming yet.
All incredibly relatable. And finally, Kelly asked, how could you be more efficient doing risk assessment? Which kind of ties it all together.
It does. And to really boost efficiency, I'd say, think, anticipate, automate, elevate.
Okay, break that down.
Anticipate risks with real-time alerts and that predictive foresight. Automate the heavy lifting, the data collection, the initial hazard identification. We saw potential for freeing up maybe 50% of manual effort there. And then elevate your FSQA team. Move them from data entry clerks to like strategic risk architects. Empower them to drive innovation and prevention, not just react when something goes wrong. Our deep dive today, I think it makes it undeniably clear. The future of food safety risk management, it lies in moving beyond just reacting.
Definitely, towards that predictive AI-driven strategy.
Absolutely. And this isn't just about avoiding problems, although that's huge. It's about revolutionizing how manufacturers protect their brands, protect their customers, and protect their bottom line.
It's really about transforming food safety from maybe being seen as just a cost center into a genuine strategic advantage.
That's a great point, a strategic advantage.
And maybe a final thought to leave people with. Consider this. If industries as complex, as critical as food manufacturing can use these advanced strategies to, as we said, see the risk before it hits, where else? Where else in your life or your work could a more predictive, more data-driven approach help you anticipate and address potential issues before they escalate?
That's a provocative thought. How might you shift from simply reacting to truly anticipating, maybe even shaping your future outcomes?
Yeah, how can you get ahead of the curve?
Well, for those of you immersed in this vital industry in food manufacturing, the path to exploring these solutions further is quite literally right at your fingertips.
That's right.
As mentioned in the presentation where these insights came from, please don't forget to scan the QR code that should be available to you. Scan it in order to book a demo call.
It's the best way to see how this can fundamentally transform how you manage food safety risks in your specific context.
A chance to see it in action. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.
Thanks, everyone.